Because I forgot to do it in the show, I do want to let everyone know to smash the like button, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section of the show, and tell me what place you think Tiger is going to come in to get yourself into a draw for 20 DK dollars. Also, by leaving an iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher review, 5 stars with your DraftKings handle, and something nice about the show. The easier contest to win, by the way. You're in a draw for 20 DK bucks. The winners from last week, we got Tim Time 33, Mr. Gus 17, Scorer 79, JHYNEK. I don't know how to pronounce that, but you won 20 bucks. The Zin Man, Too Tall 22, and Psychedelic 666. That was from the UFC show. That's baseball, golf, the giveaways from whatever. All right, let's get into the Genesis Open right now.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience Genesis Open picks and preview bets and one and done. We'll have it all covered for you if you're looking for the Listeners League link to the Pat Mayo Experience DraftKings Open. There are now 3,500 spots, over $50,000 in guaranteed money. And the best part, there is no rake, $15 entry. So get in that tournament. We got to fill it up or they get mad at me and everything will shrink. We're hoping to get it huge by the players and the masters and really have blowouts. But if we can go 3,500 people a week, it's the best tournament on DraftKings. You're going to want to play in that. But I do want to start with something of a somber note. A longtime viewer of the show, Chris Stasiak, passed away over the weekend. We were talking to his brother and his father and friends of the family. He was a great supporter of the show, and our thoughts are with them right now. And it's just terribly unfortunate news.
Yeah, that really hit me. And to say he was a longtime supporter, I literally remember Chris being one of the first, less than 5 people to reach out when we first started doing shows to let us know that we were doing something good and fun and different. And I always kind of remember those first few people to let us know about that. And ever since then, anytime he would communicate with us a lot, and he was a true supporter of the show, and that left a really empty feeling for most of the week and still does.
Yeah, so rest in peace, Chris. Hope you're in a better place now. I do want to let everyone, it's a weird transition to go into, but there's a couple of things to check out here. The Custy Awards, you can find the link to the voting. We got 3 weeks left of that before we record the show, so everyone needs to get their votes in for very cursed Sunday, too. It worked in my favor, at least, but it was still a very cursed Sunday. The Challenge Fantasy League, that show came out on Friday. Still time. You have till Wednesday to sign up for that. It's free to enter. It's a lot of fun. And you, myself, and Tim had a show come out on Saturday. Remember we recorded that one just off the cuff, a trivia challenge of the most valuable sports franchises in the world, highest paid athletes, and that was a fun show.
Yeah.
Nice filler show.
Sure.
Good for a weekend. So yeah, you were going to say something?
No, I was saying after it happens, it's easier to reflect on how silly some of my or even some of Tim's answers were in that show. But yeah, I had fun.
You guys didn't you didn't see it coming though.
Yeah, I know. Kind of caught me off guard, but sure, it's all good. And I don't know, we got to record a Custy soon too, right? Yeah,
I said voting's open for 3 more weeks, so everyone go do that. Now, I do want to shout out, along with the listeners link and everything like that, big week for members of fantasynational.com. Become a member now because you probably overfloweth with funds in your account after last week. Best week I've had in a very, very long time. From a betting perspective, DraftKings, I played 32 lineups and I won for the week and didn't have a single 6 of 6. If Fabian Gomez would have just parred his 54th hole, would have had a lot of money. So it's a real fine line between a really great week. It sucks because you put yourself in position where you have everyone at the top of the leaderboard, but it's one guy in every lineup that just sinks it. It's
usually the case.
It sucks because you want to capitalize on those good weeks, and it just didn't happen. So now I'm probably going to be treading water for another 3 months and losing money.
But a great bounce back because I feel like you came on last week pretty much starting one of my worst weeks ever.
That was Torrey Pines.
Oh, okay.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I wasn't on Ricky last week, so we had Phil this week, Stallings top 5, 50-1, and even Si-Woo in play. I should probably throw it out there that I stopped putting it on the cheat sheet because people were getting pissed off at me, but I bet Luke List and Si-Woo Kim every single week.
People were getting mad?
Yeah, they were like, well, you didn't give out Si-Woo. It's like, I told you I bet Si-Woo every week with the each way. What do you want me to do?
So how long until you omit Luke List from the cheat sheet?
I think I'm just going to leave them off to the side. Like, know that I am betting them.
Yes.
And
long-time listeners of even more than newer listeners wouldn't know, but anyone who's listened for any amount of time know your fascination with both players.
True. I just think they have winning upside. And listen, the odds on Siwoo last week were 90-1. I gave it out as a live play with the top 4, which he hit at 66-1. So they each way paid 16-1 on that. So that was nice.
If he just had a better putting rate from in 6 feet,
from in 2 feet,
could have been a bit more interesting. But you could, when he gets it going with those irons,
this is the thing.
They are unconscious.
You know what wasn't
unconscious?
You know what wasn't
Siwoo shaking that ass, as the U.S. President's Cup team said.
As Adon pointed out, like, Siwoo's got swag when he's hitting driver off the deck, not only from the fairway, but pulling out a 3-wood in the bunker and trying to go for a green that no one else can hit.
On 18.
And putting it in the
water.
Was
not playing for second place. He was trying to make a miracle, like albatross almost.
Yeah, he wants to win. He's the Ricky Bobby of golf. He wants to win or he wants to be in last.
Some people would say that's Ted Potter Jr.
Well, he didn't quite come DFL this week. But one second, I do want to give a shout out to a lot of people. I had over 70 people tweet me screenshots of Phil outright winners.
Quickly.
And it was my Golf Digest pick too, which always goes really well for me.
Phil's the best.
I only get to pick 2 people per week. Phil was one. And guess what? My fade of the week worked out better than the guy who said fade Jim Furyk at 200-1. I said DJ. Not like fade DJ like he's going to be awful, but like at 5-1.
Hopefully someone at Golf Digest sent the smartest guy in the room an email about like what that means.
Furyk came like 9th or something.
But what's the context of fading Furyk? Like at any number, he's
but
it was so dumb. He's 200-1. I feel like we're wasting time even talking about it, but it angered me.
Well, when it comes like when they tell me like here's a player to fade.
Yeah, you're like
I try to pick one of the top 5 in odds.
Anytime like around the majors, NBC Sports has me and Kenny like do like part of their write-ups. Thanks to Dougie Fresh. Yeah, no, fade means like a guy, like, to me, it's pretty much...
That people want to play.
If it's like...
That you're like, I'm going to back off.
If he's 40-1, I almost feel like I've gone too far. Because you've got to almost pick someone, like... And I know you could be talking about, like, DraftKings, but... to me, like, 40-1, I've almost gone too far. Or I, like, apologize that, like, the guy I'm suggesting to fade isn't lower.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the player that you're fading. You're fading a number. And the number at 5-1 was just a fadeable number.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, who cares if you fade Furyk at 200-1?
Who cares?
Like, great. So did everyone else. But
could you even get a matchup on Furyk? If someone wanted to fade him.
He was playing with Mahan with Tony Romo.
Who lost to his caddy, bro?
Who?
John Rollins.
John Rollins is a caddy?
So Mahan's caddy got in because 85 people withdrew. And like, when Tommy Gainey's withdrawing, like there's problems here. And Mahan's caddy got in and made the cut and did better than him.
It's not bad.
I hope I have that right. But it didn't get enough attention. So
the Phil and Stallings winners, like I said, over 70 screenshots. So congratulations to everyone out there. Just remember this week when the bad weeks come, because the bad weeks, they be a-coming.
A couple things. I think that books are, when Ricky and Phil win back-to-back weeks, I mean, just our mentions from like the 2 evenings after the wins are, people are getting, some people hit both. God forbid you didn't hit at least one of them, because it seems like everybody got a piece. Of it. So yeah, tons of winners. And to your point, which you're kind of alluding to, in this game that we're playing, it's okay to take an L. When you get a winner,
it's big.
That's got to be big, and that's got to fund your role if you don't hit a winner for a month or more. You can like back off a tournament when it's not going your way. You don't always have to chase it like through Sunday.
Yeah, like I said, I remember 2 weeks ago I came on and talked about Torrey Pines being such a disaster for me because not only did I have terrible picks.
Oh yeah, you were
I chased it live with terrible picks.
Oh yes, to the end.
Yeah.
To the end, I noticed you were chasing. From M to like live Willets, you were just like...
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Hucking everything.
But it's okay. Got it back in more
Sure,
now.
but in the end, you feel like sometimes it's okay to like just...
Yeah, to say, listen, not my event. And it's funny, coming into this week with Pebble, that's what we were kind of talking about. Like, I dialed back my exposure huge. I cut down my card. I had no first round leaders on it. I played one head to head, which was a loser because Henley on Saturday. I don't know what the hell happened to him, but just having a 25-1, a 50-1, just all coming through like that provides you months worth of bankroll. But here are some people who probably don't have any bankroll concerns anymore. Viewers of the show, members of Fantasy National, big week. We got the biggest winner of the week, TYA558. That is his screen name. $25,000 winner on DraftKings. So congratulations to him. Yeah, second, and I think the $33 it was. Scald at 17, a guy who's been a longtime viewer of the show, won $20K in that site that we don't talk about on here, but congratulations to him. The money counts either way for him. We also had Reno, won JD, won $5,000. Johnny Martinez invested a decent amount and won himself $2,400. And at Ring Balls 22, these are the biggest winners, invested $205, walked away with just over $3,000. That's a decent ROI, I would say. Plus all the winners, like I mentioned, with Stallings and with Phil. It's a good week. Just remember the good weeks when the bad weeks are coming.
Always.
Because it's funny because like last year I didn't hit a winner until Bubba at the match play, and I think I have two so far this year, outrights and like one in play. So it's been good. I'm expecting a big. I'm expecting a big drought to come here soon.
Been on a pretty decent run. I think there might only have been. I don't want to go too far, but I had Ricky. You had Kuchar.
I had Kuchar twice,
but like since the new year.
Yeah.
Even I had Bryson and what did he win? It was 10-1, but it was a nice win. And some nice each way. Putnam's at like 80 and Hideki's at like 50, and you've had your own handful. So
we're rolling.
I don't know. But I don't know. I don't like that we're forecasting dark clouds either, though. Things are going really well.
I just know from experience that this is what happens.
Outside of the Adam Long anomaly, the numbers that have been hitting are right in our sweet spot. Not to say we've hit all of them.
Yeah, 20 to 40.
Like that is the sweet spot, like where a lot of people, listeners, ourselves like to usually start our cards unless we're gonna like bite something low. So if the winners keep coming from there all year, everyone's gonna rake it in.
When the top three guys don't win and it's that next year that wins, everyone's a winner.
Because that's usually where the cards start. That's where my cards are usually focused.
If you play multiple people per event, that's usually where you start your cards. Because if you bet DJ at 5-1, there's no room for anyone else. Yeah. And that's always the point of fading the 5-1 golf.
And Phil like crushing the multi-course layout pro-ams.
Yeah.
Right?
Second and a first. Phil. I had never bet on Phil before.
No, come on, really?
Yeah. I might retire from Phil betting as an all-time winner on Phil Mickelson. No, I bet him to beat Tiger in the head-to-head. In the Tiger versus Phil.
Yeah, that was good.
So yeah, Phil, paying the bills so far this season. Let's talk about Pebble for a second. If you're Paul Casey on Sunday night, would there have been as much argument from you with Phil trying to sleaze you to try to play the entire, like, why don't we just go tee off on 17 and see what happens? I get Phil's angle on this. He's hot. He wants to finish. It's no benefit for, like, there's no difference, like, you can't see anything. And we even saw that when, like, Piercy and Lucas Glover were putting it. They couldn't see their putts.
And these guys would have been, okay, not one time during the day did Phil, Casey, or the very astute amateur in that group.
Which guy? The FedEx guy? Casey's partner?
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Couldn't putt to save his life.
Sure, but he wasn't the reason they didn't get in, is what I'm alluding to. That Piercy Glover group, by the time Phil and Casey finished like 11 or 12, they didn't have to wait to tee off anymore. They were never making an effort to tee off. It's like Phil and Casey consciously knew when they hit their first balls, we're not finishing this. So there's no, like why make the effort to try to like find 10 minutes today?
Sure, but like Phil was basically like sprinting down 15 to try to get to his ball to play the next shot.
To 16, yeah, to the tees.
If I'm Casey, I'm like, I've already gagged away a 3-stroke lead. Phil is up on me by 2, now 3. I would have been slowing it down as much as possible, just trying to fuck with Phil. Like if I'm like, I'm happy he didn't do it. Paul Casey, by the way, seems like a genuinely really nice
guy. Good guy, and everyone like, oh, Phil's just like punch him in the face. Casey would beat the shit out of, I'd say, anyone who isn't like Brooks. Google like Casey without a shirt.
Casey was a former power lifter. That's why he had so many injury problems until he like kind of backed off the powerlifting
Listen,
routine.
no one was in the wrong. No one was in the wrong.
No, but you should be trying to like if you're down the 2 strokes, you're down the 3 strokes, and Phil is just burning. He's sticking everything to 6 feet.
Yeah.
Just let's go to tomorrow. Maybe the momentum has run out on you,
and it's
Phil.
weird. Up until like 11 or 12, Casey wasn't really playing bad. He just wasn't playing good. He was like saving par, and Phil wasn't doing anything.
He was 2-putting every green.
But the second Phil started playing well,
you mean making a putt?
Sure, but the second Phil started scoring well because he was playing well essentially all day.
Yeah, he just wasn't making a putt.
That's when Casey like crumbled. It wasn't like Casey like was making early. I don't think he even bogeyed on the front 9. Now he probably had opportunities. He should have scored better. But it was like once Phil caught him, then you could see Casey spinning. Well, I respect Phil for wanting to finish. I respect Casey for telling him to fuck right off.
I'm surprised he didn't just come out and say it right away. He's like, no, I'm not finishing.
Yeah.
Like, I can't see anything.
And Phil, like the nerve of Phil.
Well, Phil comes up, she's just like, hey, buddy, why don't we try to finish?
But even before that, in his private correspondence, it's like, I can see fine. Can I finish? Paul can play in the morning. Where did Phil have to be today?
I think that he knew he was riding a heater and like, let's just get this over with. And he knew that it was a bigger disadvantage for Casey. Like, if any player on the course to play without being able to see properly, Phil's played this course more than anyone. So at least he would know where he's hitting the ball. And with a 3-stroke lead, he even said, I'll just go hit if we can just finish 17, I can go hit an iron off the tee box, then I can finish and you can come back tomorrow.
No.
And he's like, I only need to make a 7 on 18 and I still win.
It was dark. So it was some serious chutzpah on Phil.
Clint didn't even know where he was in the booth. And Nance kept cutting him off. He was trying to actually make a good point, and Nance was just talking over him, like I do to you.
Oh, people say I do to you, so we're equal. But, whatever. Props to Phil. It's nice. Well, like all the jokes we made, and he sort of took on almost like a new image, and he went like the 4+ years without winning. It's nice to see him get a WGC last year. This is a nice premier win in some ways at Pebble. So it's good, hanging on, winning once a year, doing his best to keep Team USA streaks alive. Even though I took a look last night, just because the PGA app has it like in your face at the President's Cup standings. This thing, the fact they're even going to play this thing is so sad.
Who's on the international team?
It is so sad.
So we got Scott, Day, Louis,
Grace. Now we have Grillo. Answer. They're giving Answer love for it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound super fair.
Leishman is the number 1 ranked player on the team, I want to say. In terms of world ranking. I think Day is
I think he has 2. Day is the highest in terms of world ranks, but I think Leishman has 2 wins over the past year, though, so he probably has the most points.
And what? Leishman's in the world, 14 or something?
Yeah, maybe. Like Fleetwood's like 50.
I know this sounds strange. The U.S. should almost turn it into it should be like what this is. Maybe there's only a few people who are going to like.
Is Hadwin on the team yet?
No, maybe he's climbing. Maybe there's just a few people that will get what I'm trying to say. But the USA should send the type of team that like Canada sends to like the World Championships for hockey.
Oh, so send Kevin Kisner, send Kuchar,
but that like second
send
level.
Shez Reavie.
That you are reading what I like. It's just because you're now. There's so much on the Ryder Cup that like you're gonna make these guys never have an off season, even though they can play as few as they want because they'll win enough. Those like top like 7-8 guys. You know what I'm saying though? Just sort of make it like because it's just so. I feel bad. I even brought this up that we've done 4 minutes on it, but it's just so bad. And maybe for the better of it, like it should be a second wave USA team. Captained by Kisner.
Yeah, like I mentioned to you, it was a good thing Scott Langley didn't get. He finally there was that one point yesterday where I think he hit like 6 bunkers in a row, and then just got it. His short game is amazing. He actually rated out number 1 in short game coming into the week, but like his short game is immaculate. Just getting out of the bunker, saving par every time. Then it finally didn't happen, and he went away. If he had made a run, he would have beat Phil. Because
Yes.
Phil's history of losing to the absolute worst players in California at these events. It was a good thing it was Casey.
Yeah.
He had like a legitimate challenger. He wasn't some guy, wasn't the Von Taylors or Adam Longs of the world.
I had no horse in the race. I was just watching Sunday for the entertainment value of it. I didn't think going into the day Casey was as dead in the water
He was.
as the perception would make it.
And then Tim came out and cursed him.
Well, reverse. So we
No,
can get
that was
into
not. Tim was anti-Phil all week.
Really?
Yeah, because he didn't.
So that was a genuine curse?
That was a genuine curse.
He tricked me. Just Casey made the Ryder Cup. Like he just seemed, he got the win last year, even though he didn't go full Travelers Casey on people yesterday. It took him at least 11 holes before he turned into Travelers Casey.
Sure, but the big thing with Casey in these spots is like he shot what, 1 under?
Yeah, that's why I almost thought
plus 1, but like everyone else was 6
Yeah.
under and 5 under, and he's even.
Yeah.
Like that's essentially what happened
Or
to
even-
Travelers last year. Bubba shot 9 under, and Casey was even.
It was a part in the day where they played more than I thought, but it was like, wouldn't it be perfect for Casey just to get in like down 1 and then it's Monday and then he can become be the different player instead of starting.
He's clearly a chaser.
But yeah, and we've seen that, his record shows it. But yeah, he did very, very little. Very little. He just let Phil miss putts and stay in it. And even your boy Stallings
Stallings played
great.
Well, Saturday was strange because Stallings eagled 2 holes on the front 9 and ended up shooting like 2 under somehow for the round. Like if he had put himself in it, that would have been a huge payday if he had ended up winning it 200 to 1. But these West Coast events, Stallings putts well on POA. He doesn't putt well anywhere else. But somebody's got figured out about these weird greens. You were like triggered about people patting down the putting surfaces.
Okay. This is a season-long thing, not just because it's the new rule. And it's not just the patting down. It's the literally, you saw Phil and Casey, at least on the front 9, they're like teamworking the greens.
Sure, but in fairness to them, by the time they got to the greens, they were, like, these are bad greens anyway.
So
by the time they got to it, they were just mangled because they were so soft, right?
At the
that
US Open?
No matter when you walk on it, because there was hail going on, there was rain going on, there was, like, POA's bumpy anyway. That there's probably remember when Casey was trying to put his ball down and he couldn't get it to stop on the green? Like, that's tough.
Yeah, I want to say that was 7 or the fancy par 3.
I think it was
or the picture, the stamp.
I think it was 9. It was that one where you lay up and then come in over. I think. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
I thought it was like more of the postage stamp popular.
I'm pretty sure it was the hole where I thought Phil hit it into the ocean, but he was just plugged on the fairway.
That was great too. What were the lives? Was there like did live go down?
It went off the board.
Good for them.
Because I didn't know. I was like,
that wasn't your fault or any of ours. That was the shot tracer's fault. The shot tracer had that thing in the ocean.
Well, it would have been in the ocean if it wasn't so wet and didn't plug in the fairway. And that was the whole thing where it plugged so deeply in the fairway that no one could see it. And they walked up, it's like, oh, there it is. But if it was like firm conditions, it would have hit and just skipped into the water. But I think Phil really took advantage of that fact that Siwoo was doing it too. Like Siwoo knew he could go pin seeking because anything he hit close was just going to land and stick. Like, there was no need. Like Phil had some decent behind the hole and spin it back, but most of them were just let's hit it to 6 feet and plug it.
Yeah,
because they were soft enough. So playing in those sorts of conditions is pure Phil.
And while we're here and on it, a lot is now being made. We were almost before for 3 years as we were making fun of him withdrawing from Aaron Hills. Like everything was just about Pebble as it pertained to U.S. Opens. I do not believe he's going to win the U.S. Open because I just think the pressure he'll sort of that will be there.
And also, if he hits hits the ball off the tee like he did yesterday at the U.S. Open, he's going to shoot 7 over.
Yeah, but they would. I mean, strategically. I mean, it'll be a different golf course almost by the time we're into the U.S. Open.
Phil's accuracy issues are going to come into me. Anyone who has accuracy issues at this U.S. Open is going to be in big, big trouble.
But
because it's not going to play anywhere nearly even when Phil was shanking it off to the left for a good angle, and for the way that it was playing in the wet yesterday, it was fine. He was able to get himself within 10 feet every time. You're going to be lucky to get that ball out of the rough come the U.S. Open.
And guys Brooks will be able to hit. I'm not picking him for a 3-peat or anything, but he'll be able to hit irons off the tee.
He'll 5 iron off every
into
tee.
perfection the whole week. So even Dustin, I assume, come time. A bad look. Apparently, Dustin's caddy early in the week asked Dottie how many strokes Dustin was getting versus the field. I guess he was 5-1. Coming off a win.
Couldn't beat Jim Furyk.
Couldn't beat Jim Furyk.
It's interesting to note, though, because Dustin's coming back from Saudi Arabia. Reed came back from Saudi Arabia. With Reed, he kind of jumps all over the place all the time anyway. This is the first time like Dustin hasn't played Torrey Pines in like 10 years. I think that just kind of caught up to him, to tell you the truth.
Sure.
And the guy couldn't putt all week. Finally, Spieth. He had it, and then all of a sudden, like he's the new Phil. I mean, like we talked about it last week when Ricky made that big number. Spieth's doing exactly the same thing now.
Well, we've been talking about it for a bit, and the reason I talked myself into betting him was like you are still.
I bet him too. Like
we are still seeing so many birdies that like you got to assume the ugly gets cleaned up. Maybe not permanently, but for 4 days, or the days he doesn't have his best golf, and there's still too much ugly. The ugly hasn't gone away. It was easy to get excited after 2 days because he's that type of player that you just assume, okay, it's clean. I'm not saying he's perfect or back because I don't think he'll ever reach those world ranking height. Like I don't even think it's possible.
I do.
In my opinion.
All it takes for him to win the Masters, which we know he can do.
Sure.
And then win the Travelers and then come second at the US Open and all of a sudden he's like number 2 in the world again. Whoa. Do you think that's not feasible? Because he can win the Masters.
I do. And Phil can also win the Masters.
People are talking about Phil Masters numbers right now.
It's unbettable. I don't even want to bet it.
You don't want to bet him at 20-1 to win the Masters?
He's chalky to begin with because he's popular, but I get it. He won, and it's the Masters. So he's always going to be kind of popular there, let alone an early season win, but not a chance. Maybe not a chance I would bet it.
Maybe he'll just play horribly for the next, although he goes to Mexico next week.
He has to defend.
He's here this week. He's played a lot of golf. Old man Phil. He's going to play like 6 weeks in a row.
But he took Torrey off. So he had a plan.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
In all of this.
So he'll go
for the first time ever.
Career builder. I think the miscut in Phoenix helped him. Get to Pebble early. And the reason I think he wanted to finish, and maybe it was you who pointed it out, the pilot, his entire team. That's an extra night, Phil's spending. Phil doesn't like to spend the money. He likes to save the money.
I think he needed that liquidity before the markets opened today. He was pretty... I get him wanting to finish. I didn't get like the
urgency,
and the outward displays of like mad. Like, how could he not like take off his zoned in blinder for a moment and see it was very dark? I do agree. We talk about it often here. Miscuts don't really scare us. Sometimes we can make the case. You can make the case for anyone you bet to argue for it. It's a nice refresher. The one thing that concerned me, though, I'll be honest.
The driver switch?
No, because he just wanted something. The driver wasn't nearly as important. He didn't need the yards. So, he didn't need the epic flash that we hear 27 times a broadcast. He didn't need the extra, 10 yards from the epic flash. He just needed something that could kind of do the job for him.
Well, that's 3 weeks in a row, by the way. Rose readjusts his irons after getting the new irons and wins. Ricky switches balls, he wins. Phil switches drivers, he wins.
Yes, I would say it's an asterisk to Phil, not to the extent of the other two, because that was a driver. It wasn't a new driver. I think it was just like an older model that he,
went back to.
Well, I think it was the other one, the blue Callaway.
And he had the weird putting grip too.
I didn't notice that. But for me, and everyone has their processes, and I don't think I would have bet Phil anyway last week, so I'll own that. But to me, the miscut in Phoenix was a concern because last year, when he played well in Phoenix last year, and that was like a great jumping off point to winning within a couple weeks of it, when guys go to their bread and butter layouts and they play poorly, that's a very ugly sign to me.
Well,
so that's sort of I didn't take a positive from the miscut, and I will own that. But oftentimes I do take positives from miscuts.
The counter to that, when I really dug into it, and this is where Fantasy National really came into play for me, is when I wrote it up.
It gets rid of perceptions. Fantasy National,
and just looking at it, being Phil's round one was awesome. Phil was near the top of the leaderboard in approach.
Triples and shit?
No, his round one was fine. But everything that happened on Friday, he couldn't drive anymore. He was worst in the field in approach. He couldn't chip from around the greens, and he was one of the last in putting. That's such an aberration Phil round that I was screw it. Like he's just played 5. He played 5 consecutive awesome rounds in a row. He had one bad one. Now he goes back to a happy place for him. We got a bunch of happy places this week too.
Oh, a lot of guys like it here. And you know what? I said the markets. Phil probably wanted to get into the what do they call the Asian markets last night?
Oh, I don't know.
The Nikkei or
So
yeah, he probably wanted that cash to play the Nikkei last night. Or
quick news from around the PGA. Brooks talking about how he'll go to the bathroom just to get himself on the clock so people will play faster. I love it. That's fantastic.
I am in love with Brooks. It's easy to love the game, and the trophy case is winning big ones is exciting. But this new, like, talking Brooks, I made the joke on Twitter last week that what was the whole thing last year? He like carried on his shoulders, and no one comes to his press conference. That was like his thing. Every Tuesday, it was another Brooks like feeling disrespected by the golf world. In literally a week, Pat, he made fun of Bryson's pre-shot approach, telling him golf isn't that hard, pal. He told Sergio, "You're a 40-year-old baby, grow up." And he's telling us that he deals with so play by going to just sit in the washroom and scroll Twitter for 5 minutes, so his group gets put on the clock.
I love it.
He's a hero.
I love it.
He's a hero, and his press conferences are going to be packed. Because it's like, if you have a question, go ask Brooks.
He'll give you the straight line.
Go ask Brooks.
Well, people are mad at...
Go ask Brooks about Toucan.
Well, it was... that.
Like, we might get an answer.
Well, we might get some Sergio questions this week because he's in the field. But Rory took heat last week for being like, what are you doing giving an invitation to Hung So Choi, who's like awful?
Rory got heat.
But he shouldn't have taken heat for that. His whole point was that there are capable like tour players who deserve these invitations, not some sideshow.
Okay. I agree with you.
I like the sideshow.
And
I'm glad he was there, but they showed way too much of him.
He gave a gift to all his playing partners.
What was it?
His head cover with his like follow through embroidered on it, so they'll remember him.
I like that he's cashing in on this.
Yeah, why not? Drew Love is much more egregious because people picking on House Song also drew Drew Love into the hornet's nest.
Poor Drew Love. AKA Davis Love the Fifth.
Like, I think he's played in like 15 or 17 events, Pat. He's like miscut or MDF'd in all but like 2 of them. How many web.com starts do you think he's made?
I have no idea.
Like 2 or 3.
So what does he do with the rest of his time?
Davis Love knows all the guys. When you sponsor the tournament, Davis gives you a call and says, "Get my kid in there." The Rory thing bothered me for one reason, is he's trying to capitalize. Even though the trophies haven't really... I want to back up because you brought up Rory. Did the Rory equipment change really scare everyone for, like, make it a thing?
No. I don't think so.
Because we mentioned all these guys that are winning with new balls and new equipment, but Rory had such trouble, and maybe you could argue in some ways still is, recapturing what made him so great when he had some changes, that we're all like, oh no, when guys change equipment, we got to like wait for them. And maybe Rory put like that seed in our mind.
Maybe.
So my disappointment in Rory and his House Song comments is he's like getting on an ownership end or a very high end promotional part of like this, a golf app.
Oh, really? Smart.
So it's like all about content and things, and then he's like bashing like the golf content guy.
Oh, so what you're saying is that Rory is providing his own content to his app so people get his app?
Yeah, like Tiger did this thing with like golf. Rory's trying to capitalize too on sort of letting you into his world. So I don't know. I don't understand. He was even on he did the night show circuits in LA last week, like promoting this thing.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah. So that's sort of why, and Wiley actually pointed that out to me because I'd seen all the Rory ads in the promotion. He's like, why is this guy sort of throwing stones at this entity that is sort of perfect for what he is doing? But
it seems strange.
Whatever.
It seems strange. I don't really people are like mad about it. Who cares?
No, I don't. Listen, by the end of it, guys were withdrawing left, right, and center.
Yeah.
So who?
Yeah, me and you were up next.
And when they had a good champions event and a web.com event, it made it really hard to fill those alternate spots.
Yeah. And with the Euro Tour, that was the last thing I had. The Euro Tour event in Australia,
that was
mixed. That was the combo LPGA event. That seems like the world's worst tournament, by the way.
Do you know what really had people triggered?
When the LPGA winner won, they celebrated on the green, and like Wade Ornsby is standing in the fairway, being like, "I got my last hole to play here.
Yeah.
I can still win this."
Yeah, that was bad. Props to the kid who won. I bet you that was a huge number.
Yeah, the Canadian guy won on the web tour too at like 200.
Oh, Ben Taylor.
No,
Was it? Oh.
Ben Taylor is not Canadian. He's British.
Oh, McCumber finally broke through?
No, it was some guy I've legit never heard of.
Okay.
But he was I went and checked Mike Miller's sheets. Like, what the hell?
But
like,
not your
number?
guy, Yip.
No, Yip did not win. I actually played a double with Phil, Spieth, Yip, and that guy that everyone liked from last week. It was a disaster. Minwoo. Yeah, he went full Siwoo. He went bad Siwoo to the bottom. That course is hard, man. That Panama course.
The web.com has been playing some treacherous courses, at least the weather that they've like. These guys are battle tested.
You know who I see at the top, like besides Oda, who's like at the top mostly every week.
Flirting with like
that Chinese dude, Zhang.
Zhang. Who it's like Norman, but X is Zhang.
Yeah.
But
It's with a
sometimes
Z.
I confuse. I'm like, oh, Panda, but it's not. It's actual like. It's like a
Guy from China?
Yeah.
Not Norman from like Oregon?
Yeah. I also think the President's Cup, they assume by now there'd be like a full fleet of like Chinese golfers. And all there really is Hao Tong.
They haven't really come along
like
yet.
the rumors were.
It's all Koreans. Like the South Koreans dominate Asian golf, both male and female.
Hao Tong, another name we didn't mention
For what?
before President's Cup. I can't believe I mentioned it.
Is he in there?
Yeah, of course he is.
Really?
Yeah. Or at least, yeah.
The only thing I had was Golf RedZone channel. I got into a big thread if people want to check it out on the weekend with the viewer of the show. I thought it was a pretty good conversation, just talking about like the logistics of why this isn't a thing yet. And I completely, from a production standpoint, I completely understand. I think that my only comment on this will be that people on Twitter don't realize what it would take to actually provide shot by shot. I joke around saying put GoPros, put things like that. I just want to see them try something to make it better than it is now. Like High Flying Bird came out this weekend on Netflix, the Steven Soderbergh movie. It's shot completely with an iPhone.
This is a movie like it's about basketball.
It is,
like
but,
a lockout.
but it's shot on an iPhone.
Okay.
Like no cameras with an iPhone. If you can shoot movies on an iPhone, I at least want to see like put some of this like low rent, like cheap tech production in the hands of people who know how to use these products, and maybe it won't look like it's on an iPhone. Maybe there's a way that you can figure it out that you can Velcro the iPhone like they did in that movie up to a tree, and we can get a feed that way. I don't know what the answer is for this, but I do think that we, like with whatever's in place right now, we can do better for coverage. We don't need to see Furyk and Hunter Mahan on PGA Live. That's where it all started.
Yes.
But I want to see something better. It's not going to be, like I mentioned, the Golf RedZone thing is a pipe dream.
It's still in the future.
But if we can improve coverage, especially like the live digital coverage, 50%, 20% by the end of the year, I think people will be happy with that. Then continue to improve it. But I just want to see people take some swings. And I know the startup costs are going to be huge because this stuff ain't cheap. And the logistics of covering a golf tournament with 156 people over 3 courses is hard.
And the to bring everyone to an event and the team. And then are you
coordinate
outsourcing?
people.
Like, am I just hiring a bunch of interns or college kids at a sports like media program in every city I'm in, and then you almost have to like do a retraining because are you traveling with the same like 30-man 2 per hole, 1 fairway, 1 greenside camera? I completely agree. I think, and maybe this is just me because I make this comment knowing I am like in the 0.01%. And I'm not comparing it to like NFL Sunday Ticket. There's a beast there, and that's so much logistically easier to just show 16 games. But what they charge for Sunday Ticket, they decide to find a price point that they get as many people as they can. They don't know that there's a psychopath like me that would pay like $200 a game to watch the chart. Like, cause I wouldn't breathe if I couldn't like see them playing, if I knew Philip was in the pocket. So they just got to find their price point. And I know we're in the minority, the people we interact with that win 5K on DK are happy to maybe pay $350 for a premium service that like they have to find a number. I'm just saying,
there's a happy medium.
We'll pay more. We'll pay. People will pay if they can execute the service based on what people send me in my DMs. They're playing on a head-to-head like Saturday matchup. They will pay $12 to be able to watch that matchup based on what I see they're betting on that matchup.
And, well, I mean, if you want to go check out the thread, I thought it was pretty interesting, just having a back and forth with someone who actually works on golf broadcasts. At Hefe Hall 23, Jeff Hall, so shout out to him for interacting with it and laying out the case for the production side, why it's relatively unfeasible. But I do think that just taking a shot with experimenting with something, because it doesn't...
The European Tour will do it first. I guarantee Keith Pelly will try it before...
And this was the worst tournament of the year to try to do it for, because they don't even have like real CBS cameras at the other courses.
Yeah, no,
let alone just at one course. But I even mentioned, like, when I mentioned to him, like, some people, like, I've actively tried, like, some people have been like doing periscopes from the match, like people holding up their iPhone.
I've done that at Canadian Open,
and I've watched it, being like, I want to see in real time who's making a putt here, like. But there then becomes that disconnect of what you talk about, that, yeah, there's people like me and people like you and this DFS gambling golf bubble that would be huge on that. Does that really apply to the amount of people that you would need to make it feasible? I don't know.
I love the fact the conversation's happening. I think we'll get there closer. I'm probably naive enough to think, give me a still camera on each green. That's probably not enough. Or like one in the fairway, one on the green. That's probably not enough to you. I completely agree. A dude walking with the group with a GoPro. That's all I would need. A guy that knows what his job is to do his best to track where we're coming from, what we're lying, giving it to us with the GoPro. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I get, they're like, these people doing Shot Tracker, these are volunteers. People have to realize they're volunteers. So there's a whole other element, but.
Well, he pointed out a really good thing, that just like these big CBS and Golf Channel and NBC and Fox and whoever it is, they're not just going to revert their coverage to something that looks like a high school production. Now, I don't care.
Of course, yes.
I would watch it anyway, but I get it from their end that they don't want to sully their product with something that looks like a disaster, which it would be if you stuck GoPros on cats.
And some like 20-year-old wearing it, like free to say anything.
Yeah,
you're like
you
renting
can mute
it.
them.
Sure. But you know, it's a lot of groups. One GoPro per group. How many groups do we have going?
Yeah, it would depend.
It's a lot.
It would take a lot of logistics.
But to me, the guy with the Shot Tracker
stick the camera on him.
GoPro on his head. And anyone, like, we joke about it on Twitter. You've been to a PGA Tour event, you know why Shot Tracker can suck sometimes. And I'm not talking about Pebble Beach Classic, because that's got its own tournament logistics. We've gone a long time, but now that we're here, I have to just bring something up because we're on the topic of the television. I feel for us, we lose in many ways, Pat, because the NBA TV, MLB network, I think is the absolute best. NFL network, I think is fantastic, except I'm annoyed when I want to see people talking about football and they're showing like replays of like games. That kind of bothers me. Golf is like stuck in this. They don't really have a home for the hardcore as much because Golf Channel has to like play this fine line of trying to appease a lot more people than say NFL Network, who's appeasing the hardcore fan.
Which is substantially a larger group than the hardcore golf fan.
Yes, but and Golf Channel gets like stuck in this like middle of trying to be everything to all people, and in the end, probably everyone is like annoyed.
I can see that.
So that's kind of really
I find
frustrating.
But
like, could the PGA Tour golf it sets up? So you have these instructional channels. Like, I don't know if the PGA Tour can pull off its own channel.
Well, there was
rumors
rumors of that happening. That once these rights deals were up, and I think most of them were coming up,
and they want to own their own content. I love it.
They would basically box out Golf Channel and start PGA Network. Probably a good home for you and I show. But the one thing that I don't think that Golf Channel does, and where you say like they try to placate to a lot of audiences, like I don't give a shit about how to hit a bunker shot. I don't. I don't need.
There's some people that don't give a shit about Ryan Palm. Like
completely agree.
In 60th place.
But that is why it's a really tough balance because like I don't need to see these instructional videos on Golf Channel. I would much prefer to see whatever. Show me more web, show me more live, whatever. Expanded content. If golf is happening, it should be on my TV.
Yeah, even when they're in like the rain or like the delays, I'm like, just load up the live web. If web.com is live, throw it on there. Like now. Let's
now
go.
rights deals are a bit more difficult.
I understand that, but it seems like they have access to throw.
But even when it comes to like the panels, now obviously they know what they're doing. They know what their core demo is and their audience. But like you see the panels talk like, let's instead of doing our preview, we haven't got to it Riviera yet. They'll talk about 5 guys. Like when I bring up Sung Kang a little bit later on and why he, I think, has a legitimate chance of at least finishing inside the top 5 or contending this week, that's never going to come up.
Yeah. And they rarely
like sleeper of the week, Dustin Johnson.
And they rarely argue unless like it's like major week and Brandel says something like really controversial. But a couple things really bothered me is, going into the weekend, they're talking about like Paul Casey's wins. They don't bring up his worldwide wins. They're just talking about his PGA number of wins. Like that's a completely disingenuous argument. I don't know.
Any more on the TV and coverage? So
I could do an hour on
the way that I look at it is we have what we have. We are where we are right now in terms of coverage. Ultimately, I think that having a feed where you can pick and choose, like in whatever box you want, which golfers or groups that you want to follow, or maybe even have some sort of RedZone channel with me as the host, of course. Maybe you on there too. And then we just do kind of commentary. And we have like a live leaderboard. We do the cut sweats live with people's shots. We show you DraftKings percentages and strokes gained live and all that stuff. That's the end goal. And that's probably like 25 years away. So what can we,
way shorter.
What little, I don't know about that. What little steps incrementally can we do in the meantime rather than saying, well, we can't make it better, so we won't. Let's improve 5%. Let's improve 10%. And just try to build it up a little bit because you start incrementally building up and then all of a sudden you're there. It's like the people that, leave their essay writing until the very last minute. Sure, that's fine. And listen, if you went to the college I went to, you'll get an easy B+ on something you write with 6 hours before class. But the smart people, the Tim Andercuss of the world, the day it's announced, they do an hour of research. And then the next day they do another hour of research. By the time it comes to write it, they're done with 3 days to go. And they could even improve it from there. So that's what we're looking at for the coverage. It sounds like it's a lot of people like you and I.
I'm just lucky I exited the higher education just as...
Internet was a thing?
No, internet was definitely a thing. I'm not that old.
Yeah, but internet was a thing when I was in college too, but it's not like it is now.
No, it's not like it is now. And not all professors made you hand in a digital copy for plagiarism like scans.
I got caught for plagiarism my final class of university.
I'm surprised I didn't
caught. Do you know who I got caught plagiarizing?
Tim?
Myself. I submitted the same essay in 2 separate classes. I got away with it too, because my argument, I went to the dean. I was like, the dean of political science. I was like, if you don't want me to submit the same essay, don't have 2 classes where they ask the same question. What am I supposed to do?
It's your own original. I don't know.
Apparently, it was in the rules that you can't plagiarize yourself, but they ended up being. I would have just go away.
I don't know. I feel like I would have offered Tim money to write me a couple essays.
Tim would never do that. Tim has far too much integrity. But yes, Tim. Would he
be able to like dumb it down though? Like
no.
That's the thing.
He
wouldn't be able
not.
to get me like the C+, like the 72.
No, he'd get you
that I would need.
Tim would have got you an A+. It would have been very clear that it wasn't
red flags. Listen, that's bad too. That's not a good thing. That A+.
The one thing about Tim, he has far too much integrity to do anything like that. That would be so against what Tim's all about. Because now he's competing with himself. Let's talk Riviera.
It only took us 45 minutes.
47 minutes into the show to talk some Riviera.
That was good. I hope people liked that.
Listen, people like hearing us yammer back and forth. And I think that these are things that are important to the golf world. Like the TV coverage. Anyone who watches this show, if you've actively found the Pat Mayo Experience on the podcast version or the video version on the internet, you're probably invested in how TV coverage of watching stuff online goes. I would think.
I was way more into the Matt Wolff than Choi.
Me too. Matt Wolff won
if
again.
We're talking about,
Matt Wolff won again this weekend, by the way.
If we're talking about like unorthodox swings and fun to watch, I'm not comparing their ceilings.
What if he qualifies for the U.S. Open? Because he'll probably be in the Masters.
Has he technically already qualified for the U.S. Open?
I don't know. Maybe.
Like, didn't he win last year's like U.S. Like, don't I feel like he might have already done something to. How do you get those amateur spots to begin with?
I don't know. I think
I'm not talking about like the play-in amateur spots. I'm talking about like the
like the
collegiate
college
kid amateur spots.
I don't know, but like you would think he'd be in the Masters too, as like the #1 ranked amateur like college player in the world. Anyway,
do you know?
I don't.
Well, before we actually start Riviera, who's out there trying to qualify for Riviera right now?
Mike Weir.
He was near a web.com leaderboard.
He was on the web.com leaderboard after one round. Then he went away. Mike Weir's won Riviera twice.
This player who's qualifying right now, I believe, is get into WGC Mexico.
Oh, Matthew Fitzpatrick. Yeah, of course. Great week at Pebble, Matt.
It's a bad one of his days.
Bad sign when Pebble is perfectly suited to your game and you still miss the cut.
I just saw one glimpse of him because he was playing with Snedeker. So I got like side shots when Snedeker did that hero birdie or par on.
Birdie off the beach on 18.
Yeah.
Day one. Nice shot.
Awesome.
Snedeker actually sunk a 6-6 lineup. That would have been amazing. Phil, Stallings, Casey, Snedeker.
Oh.
It ended up coming like inside the top 250 of the $5. It just had stupid Snedeker in his missed cut there. Fabian Gomez too. Not a hero.
Okay.
Riviera. People are plenty familiar with this course. We get Shot Tracker back for all 4 rounds, so great time to utilize the live stats of Fantasy National for those head-to-head in-play wagering, but we are dealing with a course that is 7,322 yards, par 71. Bubba has won this event 3 of the past 5 years, and it is not long. It's a much longer than the 7,300 yards, because you have 3 really short par 5s, which are, one of them is the easiest one on tour that generates the most eagles. That's number 10 that Finau could only par last. 1 second. Finau could only par last year.
It was the easiest statistically, or that's just my perception?
It generates the most eagles of any par 5 on tour since 2000. Over 400 eagles on tour since 2000.
It's number 2, right?
It was number 1.
No, I mean the second hole, I want to say, on the course.
It's number 1.
Oh.
Number 1 on the course. Number 10 is that short par 4 that is 315 yards, my favorite hole on the PGA Tour all season long. So you have these 3 really short par 5s and the 1 really short par 4. I mean, it's 7,300 yards. You got to make up the yardage somewhere. There's 7 par 4s over 450 yards.
Beasts.
This is a bomber's course. This is a ball striker's course, but you need to have a short game because these are small greens and you're going to miss the greens. Yeah. And that Kikuyu grass is thick as fuck. And we've seen people.
You can find trouble, big trouble.
You need to be a pure. That's why Tiger is playing this week. And we'll get to Tiger in a second, but he's never had a lot of success at this tournament because you start not hitting the fairway, big trouble. And I think it's like 53% hit the fairway here. So it's one of the most difficult in terms of accuracy on tour.
You can't even.
You can be a shorter hitter as long as you can strike your long irons, which kind of goes to be said, but this does really lean bombers over anything else.
Even the attempt to bomb and gouge can really backfire.
Oh, yeah.
Because the courses, some of those par 4s are so long that even your bomb in the thick stuff is not leaving you like the 120 in that a lot of, courses we like to bomb and gouge at. Like you still got like 160 to the green after you've hit a 300 yard plus drive.
Yeah.
So you've got to be in decent or, to be able to get there.
With the conditions, Pebble set up like a bomb and gouge course on Sunday. Just bomb it to wherever. As long as there's not a tree in your way, you can stick it out of the rough, no problem. That's not going to be the case.
And you saw that a lot with like Phil. Like
that's what Phil was doing.
Haymaker drives, just like, oh, whatever. He got onto greens, no problem.
So the favorite in the field, I mentioned Bubba has won 3 of the past 5 years. James Hahn was a winner in there. And the other one, a guy who constantly performs well at this track. Not last year, though. Dustin Johnson is 9-1, leads the field. This is the strongest field of the year so far. Justin Thomas, 12-1. Rory, 14-1. Bryson, Rahm, 16-1. Bubba at 20. Xander, Phil at 22. Spieth and Tiger at 25. Hideki and Cantlay at 28-1. Those are everyone 30-1 and below. 2 names have really stuck out here for me.
Same 2 for sure.
Same 2 for sure. I got Hideki and Rory are the 2 that I'm most interested in.
We're talking about betting.
Yeah.
Okay. Betting Rory. But to me, there's a decision between Rory or Justin because they're both playing very well, and it both feels like the win is like right here. Rory mentioned like how well, like if he putted, he wins by like 4 strokes. Where did Tory?
Rory, yeah.
He just couldn't putt.
But the irons have been bad for Rory. Not like bad, but they haven't been, like we see it for 9-hole stretches with Rory. Or, all of a sudden Rory's on, he's sticking everything to 3 feet.
Yeah, but
they get, he goes through 9-hole stretches where he's like, he has to rely on getting the ball up and down and making these 5-foot putts. And he doesn't make the 5-foot putts.
He's really struggling with that. And to my point is, I don't know if I have the confidence that it just like is going to happen.
Here's the thing though. He's played 2 tournaments so far this year, and we've seen these lapses of just putting and short game and the iron play being off. His 2 finishes, 4th and 5th.
Right?
When it clicks, he's going to win by like 10 strokes.
It feels like it's off, and it's 4th and 5th at Torrey Pines, which is demanding
and tournament
AF,
champions
and tournament
against a good
champions
field.
Against the other one. I mean, Dustin's approach numbers are unconscious, Pat. Taking away, maybe the ugliness of a Sunday in Phoenix. I don't even know how good or bad he actually played. I was so hyper-focused on one man.
3 events so far this season. 10.8 strokes gained on the field with approach at Tournament of Champions. 5.7 at the Sony Open. 8.4 in Phoenix.
How does that not win, like now?
No short game. Bad putting. And Ricky was out of his mind putting.
I'm just saying, like, those numbers, like, the precipice of the win is, like, bubbling.
It is a tough decision.
It's tough. And I mean, we mentioned Hideki went from like sort of still flying under the radar. Tory, great showing, goes to Phoenix where he didn't play poorly, but when 800, when everyone is sort of on it in the one and done and he's hyper popular, you could argue he underperforms, but it's still like a 20th or something.
He actually came T15 and was 3rd in the field in strokes gained approach. He lost 4 strokes putting. Like that's classic Hideki.
28 to 1.
Yeah, he went from 50 to or 55 to 1 to 12 to 1. Now he's 28 to 1.
I kind of could be right because we were watching it, and I think they're finally back into him
being good.
But his number is now kind of settling to where we'll probably see it, unless he wins. Because a few years ago, when it didn't seem as top heavy, he was like consistently like an 18-20 golfer. He obviously had his injury and his struggles. It ballooned in a lot of places. Yeah, I think I don't have a Masters prop yet bet at all, but I've got him to win the PGA at like 60 or something.
Oh, that's not bad. That's a really good number. I bet you it's way less than that right now at Bethpage.
And also, people talking about all the Phil US Open stuff for obvious reasons. Skip through that and maybe get the bigger number at Bethpage because I think that place could. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not into either of them, but I'm saying if you're the Phil guys that are looking to just
there's such a corollary and a narrative with Phil.
A big Masters, Pebble Beach, Bethpage.
It's a fun run, and the players of the month before
to
really wet the whistle.
Up. I mean, I don't know. No one really knows about Port Tiger. Also, though, Tiger and Phil, I think all three of the 4, at least the stateside majors, really set up.
I actually kind of like Tiger at the British.
Sure, I don't know.
That might be a really good spot for him. Windy, keep the ball low, hit some stingers. It's not going to be a driving distance competition, and that's where he gets himself into problems here.
Already distracted.
I look at it now. So Dustin at 9 to 1, we're off that. It seems like
the field is too.
It seems like a really good. Yeah, but if you're going to say Justin,
it's a good number though. It's a good number. It's fine. It doesn't feel like I could swallow it if I wanted to go there. Last week was unswallowable. It was shorter than his Canadian Open number.
Yeah,
like it was. No situation was like swallowing the 5 to 1 last week.
And the big thing, especially when you bet him at 6 to 1 to win the Canadian Open, and I know Dustin's played really well at Pebble in the past, but it's a tournament where a guy who's 600 to 1 could win, as we've seen in the somewhat recent history of it. And Glen Abbey is just. Dustin's going to come out and gouge this to death. Like, it's, of course, perfectly set up for not only him, but his skill set.
Also,
at Pebble,
who's the second best player at Glen Abbey?
Probably like Bubba.
I know like Sergio and some guys showed up last year. Brooks even showed up.
Yeah.
But
it's like a 3-man heat. So, I mean, it seems like a very logical bounce back spot. I'm just not betting the 9 to 1. I actually have only put in 2 bets so far.
I made one
on players. One was on Sung Kang and one was on Keegan Bradley. They're 80 and 100 to 1. Like I actually haven't hit. I really did want to talk this out because
it's hard.
You look at this field and like everyone's here. This is a great field, and it's tough. That's why, like,
I had to double check if I was looking at a Masters tote board.
well, let's talk about this then.
Before it's a Genesis at the top.
Corollaries that we've seen at this course over the years. Lefties play really well here. Phil's won twice. Bubba's won 3 times. Mike Weir has won twice.
Lefties.
The Masters crossover, guys that perform well at the Masters generally perform well here, and there is a Quail Hollow crossover. One of the reasons why Justin Thomas and Rory, both winners at Quail Hollow. Justin Thomas under major conditions, but Rory has won there twice and ran away with it a few times, and he generally plays well at the Masters too. So Rory has my most interest from the top. That is a really short number. Bryson at 16. I bet Bryson to win this tournament last year. Obviously, I think he came like T41. Do you know what his odds were last year?
He was 140 to win in Phoenix.
He was 125 to 1 to
and
win
I
this
think he
tournament.
emceed in Phoenix.
No, he finished inside the top 10.
Oh. Well, he didn't change anyone's opinions. So what, 90, 100?
125 to 1.
16 is not a bad number.
It's not. And
it seems like a go number on him.
But now we're Thomas, Rory, Bryson, even Rahm at 16 coming off, a
week off where he maybe not to the extent of what you said about Rory, where it's like, look at the 2 starts. He's 4th and 5th, but you feel like something's not there. Rahm's very much, what are his finishes? I know Tory might have disappointed, or Phoenix disappointed some people because he was like 6 to 1 or something.
He has a 10th, 5th, 6th, 1st, 1st.
So since
10th, 5th, 6th, 8th, 1st are his last 5 tournaments.
10th, 5th, 6th.
10th in Phoenix, 5th at Farmers, 6th at the Desert Classic, 8th at Tournament Champions, and he won the
Anyone before that, but
yeah, I know.
That's like that also feels like it's about to burst.
But then you have Xander, who's already broken
always
through.
Burst, but this is a full field.
It's not a
it's not a 30-man tournament champion. It's not a WGC. You don't necessarily get a playoff 4 days. Not to say he like storms weekends, like he plays fine. Not to say he's gonna ride a cut line or anything. Do you know who I will not touch?
Phil? Tiger? I'm not betting Tiger.
Because
there are 2 good spots the next 2 weeks for Tiger. I think Mexico is a great spot for him, and I think that Honda's a great spot for him.
Honda, sure.
I mean, we've already conceded Honda to Danny Willett, so...
And Luke List playoff.
And Luke List, yeah. Willett over List in a playoff.
Maybe Lovemark can get up
Lovemark's done. Maybe Berger can make a resurgence. Former playoff loser at the Honda.
Norin at the Honda. Geez, I turned my page like I was going to draw a diagram because I had something to say. The thing with Tiger.
Are you going to draw a diagram?
No, he's not. We spoke about this before Tory. And it was fine. He played fine. It was good to see him play 4 days. At Torrey Pines, he got better each day. I don't know if his scores got better, but from what I saw, like it was just like every day. I think the things that were important statistically got better. That's what's important. Tiger is still. Tiger's not going to come out of nowhere.
He's heating up
and win.
Yeah,
you're going to see Tiger heat up, and then he's going to be 8 to 1, and then he's going to win. Like, that's how I see it happening. I don't see Tiger like looking for it and like that. It's not, who sort of has that quality. We joke about guys. Yeah, it's the old like Martin Keimer.
Yeah. Oh, Martin Keimer's 300 to 1. Oh, he won.
I'm just saying, like, he needs no form, and we've seen him like literally just win. Tiger, the form will progress. It will progress. It will progress. It will boil till he's favored at the Masters like last year. It'll cool down, and hopefully we can catch the right spot. So I still see him. I don't see him there, but I don't expect him. I like to see him make the cut. I'd like to see him play 4 days. I'd like to see him play better than he did at Torrey. That's a great win.
Last year, Tiger missed 2 cuts. One was at the U.S. Open and one was here. Even throughout the years, this is where Tiger made his debut as a 16-year-old. He just cannot wrap his mind around this course. He loves this course. He loves playing this course, but he just has not a lot of success.
And
here.
I know it's the Genesis Open, but he's the host.
I think he's the host because it's the Genesis Open.
Sure.
And we found out last year the Genesis is a car,
yeah,
not a computer system, which I assumed it was.
Sega system.
The Sega Genesis.
Yeah. So yeah, he's got some of those obligations, and we were worried last year. At least I was, because last year I was fortunate enough to be able to go to Honda when he's registered to play this. I was like, he's not going to play back-to-back weeks like Honda, but now he's gonna
play this. He'll play. I think he's playing in Mexico next week. I would assume he is. It's WGC. And then I assume he's playing Honda again.
I think you are absolutely right.
Then it's Bay Hill, and then it's
So he's going to play everything?
He might play 5 weeks in a row.
That's not possible.
So he might be sitting one of these out, but I doubt he sits out Honda. Good for my Willett bet, which I assume I'm going to make, but either way. So let's play a quick cross-off here of the guys. Dustin, yes or no? No, right?
No, I'm not betting it.
Thomas, maybe?
Thomas or
We're either going to cross him off or say maybe because we haven't made any bets yet.
I'm not crossing him off.
Okay. Rory, not a cross-off.
Not crossing him off.
Bryson.
I'm going
to leave Bryson open for the moment. I'm going to cross off Rahm. Bubba Watson, 20 to 1.
You like to, like a fine wine, pick those Bubbas. I don't know. At 20, I don't feel like I'm going to miss anything.
He's coming off leading the field in ball striking
without putting. But will he do the ball striking? Will he putt and not have the ball striking? Like, I don't know. I'm confident. I'm not betting it.
I'm leaving it open for me because I really do want to consider. And again, my cheat sheet comes out on Wednesday when I finalize my bets.
And I
don't want to say now that, I'm going to bet Rory and I'm going to bet this guy. I want to think about this and give it time to gestate. The Monday finish is never fun for this type of thing because I'm doing my Riviera research while I'm watching the event, but now I'm reinvested on Monday morning when I'm really digging in. All the stats haven't updated yet, and not that the stats are really going to influence me either way on Bubba because the stats are never good. It's either is it a Bubba week or is it not a Bubba week? But 20 to 1 is a fair number for him at this course where he's won 3 of the past 5 years.
Completely fair.
He was 50 to 1 last year.
We saw him go to a Bubba spot a couple weeks ago and play very well. Let's recap last year.
One sec. Xander, yes or no? No. Xander at 22, no. Phil at 22, no. Spieth at 25, no. Tiger at 25, no. Hideki 28, maybe.
Open.
Cantley at 28.
Last year it was like 55. And you do. Oh.
I missed both of them because I missed Bubba too, despite pumping his tires. It was stupid.
So last year we had the rule that if Cantley's over 50, we're going to autoplay it.
And then I didn't do it and he almost won.
Yes.
I had Cam Smith here last year. And Finau. They were both in their...
Who can handle the up and downs you speak of and the stickiness? I don't mind Cam Smith. It's sometimes hard to swallow.
Anyway, Cantley 28. Okay. Yes or no? Right now.
I'm not.
It's like Ocean's 11.
It's like Ocean's 11. I'm not crossing it off. I've seen better numbers.
I'm going to cross it off. What's the better number you've seen? 33?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bubba, who you talked about on this show a year ago, but also on the show said you weren't going to bet him
because WD to go to the NBA All-Star game.
He had made it very clear that his priority that week was the celebrity NBA All-Star game that was in LA. That he was going to play in. Over hell or high water, he would walk off the golf course to get to Staples to play in this game. If it meant WDing, he could WD. That's just a small part of it. Not only that, Pat, he did the Ellen DeGeneres show. He did Jay Leno's Garage. He was everywhere last week, which prompted you to be like, I cannot bet him. And on Sunday... he burns my Cantley and Finau
burns my Finau and Cam Smith tickets. Fortunately, Bubba made it back to me throughout the course of the year.
So that was last year's, and that was Bubba. He had just kind of looked decent in Phoenix, but he hadn't become. He was still
bad Bubba,
sickly Bubba, who was just not playing a pink ball anymore. And gone back from Volvic to Titleist. We're just getting back into maybe he's fine. And then he was just murder here last year.
He was having such a good time. You can see it with Bubba instantly. Even watching him Sunday at Waste Management, the first few holes, he looked like such a train wreck and was so pissed off. And he went bogey, 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 bogey. He made one nice drive. He hooked it around over the desert, got it around some water, and landed it way beyond anyone else. Big smile on Bubba's face, and all of a sudden he's sticking everything to 3 feet.
The key with Bubba, especially at Phoenix, because it's the anomaly, because we all agree the course suits him, but he always every year says he hates it, and he's just here to make his sponsors happy because they really want him there. So it's always crucial he gets off to good starts in Phoenix so that Sunday morning checkout doesn't happen on Thursday.
Yeah. But he loves this course, man. Loves it.
Yeah, I totally see that. My card is going to be filled with guys that don't win, Pat.
Oh, perfect. So when I talk about the losing weeks, this is going to be one of those.
Well, it's just the guys that have caught my attention are a consortium of players that don't win.
Okay. So I assume you're going to hit this range then. The mid-tier features last week's loser, Paul Casey, at 30-1, who actually has a second place finish. Playoff loss to James Hahn in this event. Mark Leishman is 30, Finau is 30, Kuchar, Cam Smith, Adam Scott, all 35-1. Tommy, CH3, Sergio, 40-1. Then you got Shez at 45, Louis at 50, Hadwin, Cabrera Bello, Grace at 60, and Terrell Hatton at 70-1. That is a murderer's row of 30 to 70-1. Like normally it's like Andrew Putnam is 60-1. Terrell Hatton is 70-1.
Abraham Answer, who's like now in the hundreds.
He is the Mexican Allen Iverson. Okay, that is his name.
Sorry. I like this range, but this is this tournament is so good at the top that you kind of have to make a decision on where you're investing your bullets. And when you invest up there, it might cost you a couple. So I like that I can maybe play the top if I want to, but I can cross over 50 and still get something attractive. But I got to start.
Tommy.
I am
Tommy or Sergio?
feeding the money pit. That is.
Doesn't this seem like a Sergio comes out and wins?
Oh, no, I'm not betting.
Sergio loves this course.
I liked Tommy a lot. I think at 40-1, that's a very nice number.
Like if we're talking about ball striking and we're talking about approaches, this does set up really well. But like, it's also Sergio's game too. And wouldn't it be the spot where Sergio destroys everything? And what if Sergio comes out this week and says, you know what? I only wanted to go to Saudi Arabia to stick it to them and tear up their greens. Now Sergio's a hero.
Okay, so we're gonna go to Sergio, but we can't forget this range. I trust that there's people, the same guy that had the balls to like go into Kuchar's face and ask him about Toucan is going to get into Sergio's face and ask about what went on there.
What if that is his answer though?
Good for him. I always prefer guys owning it. Own it. On a completely unrelated note, I don't even, care for much for the sport, but it's like localized. I see like the big Leafs free agent signing, John Tavares, superstar. He's going back to play the team he left. He was asked about it for the first time last night. Like, you have that big return to New York. He goes, I don't regret a thing. I love what I did. We're just getting started here. They always try to like dance around the issues and like play nice. No, owning it is a fantastic quality. You think Sergio's going to own it?
He might. I'm just saying he can twist the narrative.
To what? Oh, like the.
I was sticking it to Saudi Arabia. If he said that, everyone would be on board with him. Everyone. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, way to go, Sergio! Stick it to them."
I guess
everyone's still mad at Bryson for saying he had a good time.
It's been like 2 weeks, so the check's probably cleared.
Well, he didn't get a check.
Bryson will probably get asked too. I don't want to go back to that.
No, we did that last week.
But I stand by my take on that. So the money, Tommy Fleetwood, I actually feel really good about. Last week I spoke very highly of him on this show,
and he was very Anderkirch last week.
But in the end, it was Ulrich and Judd Lowe.
Yeah,
he's got bets Japan tours. He knows more than anything. They were showing me some. Ulrich through him was. I put out some great stats on really the experience at Pebble was so crucial. So that's sort of why by the time it was to make bets, I didn't want to bet a guy
who was Anderkirch,
who was going to Pebble really to play his first time, and I think had a good time there. And I bet you he was scouting U.S. Open stuff.
That's the thing. It felt like a scouting mission for Tommy, and to get over here. Now he's over, and now he's acclimated.
It was 20 or 22. It was 40. And granted, there's some bigger names, but some of these bigger names,
Tommy's on par with.
Yeah,
listen, I know Phil just won. Tommy's a better player than Phil.
I agree.
I think Tommy's better. I know Xander's great. I think Tommy's better than Xander.
I think Tommy is okay.
Xander's good, really good. He's a top 10 player, but so is Tommy.
This could like burn into an evergreen clip, but I think Tommy, for these 4 days, is in a better position to win than Tiger Woods.
I agree, and you're getting 15 more points on the bet.
No, I'm not like. You go bigger picture. I'm not even
okay.
Let's
say they offer you up even money head to head, Tommy versus Tiger. Are you taking Tommy?
I would.
Are you betting?
I would.
Are you avoiding it?
But I would want the plus money because I'm picking on Tiger. Like if I'm picking on Tiger, I need the Piper to give me something.
The thing is, you know who Tiger's going to be paired up with this week in head to heads?
Finau.
Phil.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And I don't like either of them.
I don't want to back. I don't feel comfortable backing Tiger here. There's trouble to be had here. There's also trouble to be had here for Phil.
There's trouble here for everyone. It's a hard course.
But the money pit that I'm throwing it into.
Oh, Big Ricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You bet Big Ricky every week.
Not every week, but it's getting into a habit.
He birdies those par fives, which you freaked out about at the beginning. Just birdies them. Doesn't eagle them.
I
Just
lost
birdies
my
them.
mind. If people go back to the show, it would have been the Honda show, I guess, right? Because that would have been next.
Yes.
I mean, that was peak.
No, you were in Florida, I think. Or were you in Florida the week after Honda when we did the show? You were via bad lighting.
No, but I was in Florida for the Honda, but I was here to record the
yes.
Honda show. That makes perfect sense.
It was big peak Finau.
Insane. Yeah. Like the 40-foot like eagle putt to then sticks it to like 4 feet on a par 3, like Si Woo styles, and then like misses the putt. Peak Finau. It's a money pit. It is a money pit. But I've just been on it the last week. I'm an idiot. I tried to get cute and say, you're all going to bet on Tony to win Riviera. Watch this. I'm going to jump you in the queue. I got too cute. This one, I mean, Tony Riviera, 35-1.
30-1.
Down to, it's been, that's like auto. That's auto anytime Finau is 30 or above. Now, unfortunately, last week I really liked it because I believed strongly, pound for pound, he was the 3rd best golfer in the field. And I like the number. He's not the 3rd best golfer in this field. He's not. It's a much stronger field.
I have 2 questions about Tony Finau. One, if we're going to agree that he's a money pit, I know a lot about money pit golfers who just never win. But if he's someone that we know that doesn't win, why not just back Luke List at 125-1?
You can do that too.
Like, does Tony really have 4 times win probability of Luke List? Like, they're kind of the same
Tony
guy.
is finally better.
He's better. Obviously, he's better than Luke List.
No.
Is he 4 times as good? Does he have a 4 chance more likely to win this tournament? No.
You could say that about like all those guys, though.
Yeah, but List and Finau are very similar.
Okay, but Finau is actually now back into like an odds range that is like much more fair.
Okay, question number 2. Why bet Finau at 30 if
I don't like where
Casey's
this is
32?
going.
Why not? Like, we always talk about the second place finish, riding it into the next week. Casey returns to a course where ball striking is king, putting is somewhat mitigated. We saw his short game was on point, and he has success at this course.
Agreed. All agreed. It almost kind of proves my point is that we're now in a proper range where I'm with another guy who can't win.
Well, Adam Scott's here too, who's won this tournament before.
He won it. Yeah, he won it.
And
he won back to back. Then he went to Doral and beat Sergio on Sunday, right?
No, you have that twisted. He came second at this because he lost to Bubba because we hit Bubba. We had Scott and Bubba that week.
He put it in the fairway that's like 2 fairways.
Yeah. So he came second to Bubba. He went and beat Sergio at Honda. Then he won at Doral the next week.
You are right. Tony's in that range of guys that don't win now. But he's priced better.
So you're in on Fleetwood and you're in on Tony.
You think that's a bad investment?
I don't think. What do I know? I like Tommy more than I like Tony. I'll tell you that much.
If they were the same number?
Yeah. They were the same number.
I think they're pretty equal.
I get that this is a better course fit for Tony Finau, and plus he's played here and done well. I like the fact that Tommy played this last year. Tommy has already over here and got his start in, and now he's sort of like adjusted to the time zones.
I'm going to own this. I am playing Finau this week because I'm like prepared to. I'm not like never going to say never Finau because I'm not an idiot. He's too good for a comment like that.
You're going to get off of him if he doesn't win?
No, but I'm prepared. If this wasn't Riviera, like for someone that's been on him, this is not the week to get off. The number's now crossing 30. It's a course that like likes him. Do you agree with that said? Like this is the wrong week to bail.
Yeah,
if you've been on the boat.
If you've been on it, there's no point of jumping off here. This is a better course fit than almost anywhere.
Yeah, this is like I could not bail here. It's kind of like what I'm beholden to.
And I think this goes well with my Masters crossover. Tony played well at the Masters. He has the short game to do this.
It's incredibly hard to bet guys to win that you don't have the faith will hit like the 8-foot par putt.
I mean,
that is like.
But just look at Casey on Sunday. I even
All right, hit them for 11 holes.
I put this out on Twitter. It's like, where is the Paul Casey that I bet on, who misses all these
of
6-footers, but just nails through 10 holes? Then all of a sudden, Paul Casey shows up.
Well, it's because if Phil wasn't making birdies, he probably still makes those pars. But the second Phil like put it on him, Casey stopped hitting them.
Anyone else in this range? We talked about Louis is fire right now. Although he did WD from his last tournament, he's 50-1. Hasn't played this course since 2014, but I believe he has 4 top 5s in his past 4 starts.
Really like Louis here. You would obviously advise like the Tony each way.
Yes,
but it's still
I'm not
even in the third. That's a lower number, but yeah, I get it.
7.5-1 for a top 5. That sounds like Tony. He cashed the each way for me here last year. Unfortunately, he was 66-1 then instead of 30.
I don't know if I'm going to each way that. Louis has been fantastic.
Do you like him more than like Grace or Rafa or Hadwin or
Hatton?
Do you like him more than
I
those
like
guys?
Louis and Hatton. Shocker. And Rafa in this range.
You like the Hieros.
I told you before when I don't think there's an American.
The internationals, I guess.
The internationals are filling my Riviera likes.
Hadwin, shockingly, over the past 5 years,
Lefty
is up. No,
not lefty, Canadian.
He's up there with Dustin and Bubba inside the top 5 of most strokes gained at this tournament. He plays this course really well. He's interesting to me. I think that might end up being more of a DraftKings play because just seeing him surrounded by these names seems like he's the odd man out. What about Chucky 3 Sticks? He's won this tournament before. He's won already this season. He's playing really well. Would
you bet him or Louis?
I think for an outright bet, I would bet Hal. Louis still has never won in America. Let's not forget. But I think Fleetwood's the play. That's where my mind goes at 40-1. And I think
Rafa, strong little week. Is this just not
Rafa next week? Rafa Honda.
Yes, Rafa Honda.
That's more what I'm thinking here. Because even like I don't know what did you see his like just brutal like 4 chip on that par 3 yesterday? He was at 12 under at one point. Then he double bogeyed the first par 3, and he had it to like 10 feet at the pin. He chipped it short. And then he missed the comebacker. It was like, oh Jesus, Rafa. So this isn't a wedge fest. I like Rafa at wedge fests. Like I do want some distance out of my guys. Somehow Hadwin has figured out a way to
get. He played well this week at Pebble. I feel like his most recent one was a Scottish Open, right? Rafa.
Yeah, and he's played well in Mexico in the past. He came 3rd there last year. I think that was all.
Grace has kind of been plodding along nicely, although a blow up
on Sunday.
Conditions
didn't get bad enough for him was the thing.
Yeah, he needed to play through the hail and Knox.
Yeah,
we did not like.
Yeah, I was on.
Your Knox love was about no, they're going to play through this.
Yeah,
that's why I want to bet Russell Knox because they play in this. Yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, how did the weather do that? It was awesome. It hailed and was just ridiculous for like 2 hours. Then it was like the nicest day of all time.
You get 4 seasons a day out there.
So of the guys in that range, the ones that intrigue me, I like Tommy like you do at 40. Cameron Smith.
Where did we cut off?
Cameron Smith,
70s?
70. Cameron Smith has my attention and Paul Casey has my attention. Those are the 3. No cash on them yet. And I do want to dig into Sergio. Maybe he's just been so bad.
Has he been bad?
Yeah, he hasn't been good.
Yeah, did he play the other European event?
I don't remember. I can look that up for you right now.
40. It's a good number, but he's going to like flip 2 birds and win the tournament?
Maybe. He played in Dubai and came 3rd.
Yeah,
and he played in Singapore and came. Oh, wow. Sergio's playing a lot better than I thought. The Valderrama Masters, hosted by Sergio Garcia. He won that. Then he came 2nd at the Nedbank, 9th at the DP Tour Championship, 6th in Hong Kong, 7th in Singapore, 3rd in Dubai. Maybe Sergio's a player.
Can you give me Louis' ones also? Because I don't want my perception that it's been better than it has been.
No, I looked up Louis this morning. Louis' past 4 tournaments.
Good, man.
4th in Abu Dhabi, 7th at Alfred Dunhill, won the South African Open, 3rd at Nedbank. Now, those aren't the strongest.
Much like Sergio.
Yeah, they're not the strongest fields in the world, but he wins them. Shows up and he wins. It's better than seeing a big T37 next to his name when you're the best player in the field and you go out and stomp everyone. That's what you're supposed to do. And it's good to see that sort of stuff. So I'm intrigued. You done with this range?
You're in on Sun Kang, eh?
Let's get to the long shots. Sung Kang, he opened at 100. That's where I grabbed it, and then I just went and checked back 20 minutes later, even before my column came out. He has a great course history here. He's made the cut the last 3 years. Is sneaky long off the tee. Actually finished inside the top 20 of driving distance for this course last season. And he has 3 top 20 finishes in his past 4 starts. Lost 7 strokes putting at the Waste Management. That's why he missed the cut. And was horrible on the greens last week and still came inside the top 15. Like 80 to 1, I would still back it.
I think he birdied 3 of the 4 days on the 17th and the 16th in Phoenix too. He's down to throw down.
He only made 2. He only played 2 rounds in Phoenix. He missed that cut.
Oh, well, they birdied both of them.
But he's just tee to green. He is playing exceptionally well. And the times that I've backed, like Phil was one, the one aberrational round, but the ball striking was still really good. Back him, he wins. But I got on Kuchar to win at Mayakoba, it was the same thing. The ball striking was really good, and the putting was non-existent from a guy who's generally a good putter. Sung Kang is generally a good putter, and you rarely catch him when he's in a stretch of tee to green like this. That I don't love it, but this is a pure numbers play for me, plus a little bit of course history. I like Sung Kang at 80.
You want to talk course history? It's a shame his health is in question.
Mike Weir?
No. Because I think I spoke about him during last week's show, and Paul screamed from the back. He just WD'd as I was talking about him.
Kevin Na?
Yeah.
Came second last year.
4th the year before.
He is one of those short-hitting, long iron players that can get up and down like no one's business. Maybe Scott Langley's someone to look at. Lefty, good short game. Might be too long for him.
If Kevin Na doesn't withdraw, I might have to do something.
Are we convinced he's healthy? Because he was hurt. He's already withdrawn 3 times this year.
I'm not, actually. I don't know anything.
That just seems like
I've just been waiting to bet him because last year he played really well at Pebble. I wanted to bet him. I feel like last week I was like, no, these were a run of events where he played some of his best golf, and unfortunate for him, he's not healthy. And you're right, I could be a loser getting sucked into not healthy guys.
So the other one that I went with that I like, I'm giving a long look to Kokrak, who I'm surprised he withdrew last week, but a lot of people withdrew. Played really well in Phoenix and has played well at this event in the past.
3 straight top 25s, including a second.
Second was the year Scott came second as well. We had Bubba. Because I remember Kokrak was the one throwing the wrench into everything. Because that year we had Charles, Bubba, and Scott. And I think they all finished inside the top 5. And Kokrak was in the lead for a lot of the final round. Eventually Jason Kokrak'd it away. But he's someone else who's actually played really well at Quail Hollow in the past too. That 80 to 1... he should be deeper. He should be like 150 to 1 based on the strength of this field. He's getting course history cred baked into these odds, but he's not a terrible play. I like Kang a little bit better, but that's not horrible. Keegan Bradley is the other one. 100 to 1. I made that play as soon as it came out. I wrote him up in the column.
Is he down already?
No, he's 100 to 1. He's still there. On the weekend in Phoenix, you know how Keegan's a bad putter? We all know that. So Keegan was 5th in strokes gained approach at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. In rounds 3 and rounds 4 combined, how many strokes do you think he lost putting?
9.
7.7 in 2 rounds.
Right,
That is aberrational even for Keegan Bradley. Remember Bubba at Tournament of Champions lost 13 strokes putting? Then all of a sudden he was okay. I think Keegan can somewhat get it back. He lost in a playoff to Bill Haas here. In the not too distant past, but he's playing really well. The ball striking is still there. This is a course that he's plenty familiar with. I think he's going to be okay. And he's actually gained strokes putting 5 of his past 7 starts. This term, I had to regurgitate that out of the back of my mind. But if there's a course where it can be somewhat mitigated and the ball striking's on, Keegan's live at 100. And I really like those top 5, 25 to 1 odds.
I have no memory of, was John Merrick the only chump to win here?
Mike Weir.
Mike Weir's a major champion and did have a run.
Yeah.
When Mike Weir was...
Yeah, he was a top 5 player in the world.
Good.
It's like Mike Weir won back-to-back years here. Even the year Bill Haas won here. Bill Haas was a top 10 player in the world. He just won the FedEx Cup. So, yeah, you don't see a lot of chumps winning here. It's a hard week to back long shots.
Because there are some attractive
Aaron
guys.
Baddeley has won here.
I just don't...
Guys need to have... Bubba does well here because he can lag putt and the ball striking is really good. and he hits it so far down the fairway. He has it kind of figured out. That's the shot shape for him is perfect. You want to hit like a power draw as a righty off the tee, like you want to kind of do at Augusta, or you can have that big shot shape that Phil and Bubba have off the tee. That when he can kind of get into that groove, he's good. But out of all the guys down this list, like JB Holmes plays really well at this event. He's 150 to 1, but I don't know. Is there anyone you see from down here? No Keith Mitchell on POA. That's a thing that I'm doing now. Only on Bermuda.
I mean, Willett can hit the long irons, but we're going to wait for Honda.
Wait for Honda. Wait for more of a grinder course.
It's probably not a suit set for Varner, but you do see his game getting consistently better.
Agreed. The guys that I just took the flyers on, like I mentioned, List, Siwoo, auto bets for me.
You go back to your boy Molnix?
I went back to my boy Neiman, 175. He's just in, like I said it before the beginning of the year. If people didn't watch the intro show, anytime that he's
it's just like climbing.
Anytime that he's over 80 to 1, the talent is too great for that. Like Kokrak is probably objectively a better play this week, but if I can get Neiman for more than double the odds, like Neiman's a better player than Kokrak.
Who'd you rather bet, Charles or Keimer?
Neither.
They're both really low.
I'd probably rather bet Keimer.
I'm surprised Pat Perez. He's been real horrible lately.
Year of Ollie, 225 to 1.
You brought him up. I didn't bring up anything. I have a real hard time swallowing anything. Good to see Ernie's playing decent. Maybe he can make that President's Cup team. I keep joking.
So I ran the numbers. So past 24 rounds, the guy with the lowest odds who rates inside the top 10 is Kokrak. He's 9th in statistical modeling. Other than that, Sam Ryder is next best. He's 21st. What are Sam Ryder's odds? It's probably more of a top 20 at best play, though. Mullenix is still playing well. Maybe Mullenix is worth a look. I wonder, do you have his course history in front of you? Has he played this course before?
My course history sheet
doesn't quite go down to Trey Mullenix?
That low.
Let's see. Genesis for Trey Mullenix. He's never played this event before. But coming in, he has not missed a cut in his past 6 starts. He has not missed a cut in 2019. 22nd, 15th, 25th, 31st, 50th. He's getting better. He's hanging right around the top 20. I don't know if that's an outright win bet, because what's he at, 150? Is he deeper than that? I didn't even see him at 175 to 1. Same odds as Neiman. He's probably a better bet than Neiman is.
I got my confidence in any of these guys is
not high. Yeah,
just such a strong.
This doesn't feel like the event to go deep sea diving.
I would
maybe just bet James Hahn because he's won it before.
Sure, but I would rather be. I don't know. I'd throw like 1 or 2 more bullets in like that mid range than like 6 of these.
I think that's very sensible.
That's just sort of where
You know who has the great course history here too? Sang Moon Bae. Again, these are probably DraftKings plays. I'll talk to Drew Matthews tomorrow from Fantasy Golf
My
Bag.
stuff doesn't go. Isn't Bud Cauley been showing some life?
I feel like he has. Yeah.
Do
you like him substantially more than Kevin Tway though, or Appy Burnrat?
No, I do not.
Okay, so let's talk.
There was
quick picks. Ready for this?
No, I wanted you to tell me about Hatton.
What about him?
Because we were where did we decide to bite on him recently? It was Torrey, I think, or Phoenix?
Phoenix. He came 15th, I believe.
Similar number, but stronger field.
POA
Greens.
Listen, I never worry about Hatton's putting. Like anyone else, he's going to have good weeks. He's going to have bad weeks, but he has more good weeks than bad weeks.
He's the guy literally like, or was that Fleetwood? Who went to like Golf Town, bought like a putter, and then
Poulter.
Maybe like Hatton might have done it too.
Was it Hatton? It was Hatton.
And apparently Tommy this week was putting with like a $12 putter.
Perfect.
I love it.
Club change, he's going to win. At Waste Management, he was 15th. He gained 3.2 strokes off the tee. He lost 3 strokes on approaches, gained almost 7 around the greens. It was neutral putting. That's not a recipe for success for him here, I don't think.
Maybe, Mexico, I guess, is where he showed up last year.
Mexico's a better fit for a lot of these Euro guys.
I hope Hatton
misses
the cut.
Okay. Quick picks before we get out of here. The only 2 guys that I have bet so far, Sung Kang at 100 to 1, now at 80. I would still bet him at 80 with the each way. Keegan Bradley 100 to 1 with the each way as well. The guys, and when I release my cheat sheet on Wednesday afternoon on my Facebook page, facebook.com/thepme. There will be one of Justin Thomas, Rory, or Bryson on that list. Probably Rory. That's where my lean is right now. And I think as we finish,
right?
Hideki is a big lean for me at 28. And I think I might jump on Tommy at 40. And then I got really nothing left. If I take one of those guys at the top, I don't have many bullets this week. I wrote up Rory and Hideki already as a part of my fantasy picks column. That's kind of just objectively guys from each range, but that might be where I'm going.
I could be wrong, but I would stress less bullets, higher quality.
Yeah.
This is Riviera.
Big boys come to play.
That being said, I do believe, Pat, I don't want to put air in your tires. And I say this a lot, but this type of field, non-major, this strong field, this is the event I've always envisioned, not Riviera specifically.
Luke List winning. I'm always he's going to win that event that's strong. He's not going to win when he's in some jobber 22-1 because it's the fourth best guy in the actual field. No, he's going to play his best golf in a really strong field. I don't know if it'll be enough, though. I always prefer, almost like Keith Mitchell, I prefer him on Bermuda grass, too. I mean, listen, I bet Luke List. I bet Luke List and Siwoo and Neiman. Those are 3 bets that I'm making every week until I lose all my money.
Well, at least Neiman, as long as
he's 175.
Until he's not the cool young guy again that's 30-1.
Yeah.
Because the funny thing is, Cam Champ's 90. You could go still bet him at the Masters, I'm sure, for half that.
40-1 still to win the Masters, despite not being in the field.
They're cutting everybody that shows any life, but they don't bump guys that aren't showing. They get, not to say you'd still bet it, but 90-1, I don't know, he hits it far.
Yeah, so you can back me if you want to be on Team Siwoo and Team Siwoo just paid for. Let's see. The live was 16-1, but the other one was 18-1. So 18-1. That's 9 tournaments worth of Siwoo bets that he's already paid off. So they outright me each way. All he needs to do is come top. He came top 5 3 times last year.
And then when he wins the Players again, you'll have.
Yeah, their odds are stupid for. I mean, Siwoo's win equity odds are always out of whack. Luke List never wins, so his odds are probably too short. But he's my guy. I gotta back him.
I'll be honest.
It's not like I'm betting $100 a pop on Luke List.
To not bet, I did my best, really to stay away yesterday. But if I was in the urge to run to the computer, the second you see Siwoo striping, it's like the woman in the IKEA commercial. Thinking she's stealing, but just cheap goods.
He has to be terrifying, for if he's chasing you, because he gets so hot, so hot. It's crazy.
Okay, so my turn.
Who you got?
I bet on Finau.
Okay.
35. That's already come down in some places. I'm gonna bet on Fleetwood.
Okay.
That's really the only confirms I got for myself. And there's a decision. There's a Rory,
JT.
I mean, your decision was between Rory and Bryson.
Bryson, JT, and Rory.
Oh, I didn't even think you had JT. Yeah, but I'm on the same.
One of those 3 is
one of those
on my card.
Got to end up on my card. And if you just wanted to play 2 of them in Fleetwood, that doesn't even sound like a bad go. 3 Because Fleetwood's high enough, you could play the top and you don't feel bad about it.
At
40-1.
He seems mispriced at 40. If I know Cam Smith has played well here and he's playing well, and I don't hate the 35, but Fleetwood at 40 just seems like a better number, doesn't it?
He was 20 last week.
Yeah. So
on his first North American start of the year.
Yeah, Fleetwood's gonna be on my card.
I should bet it quickly before
we got to
finish the show out.
Then we got to finish this show then. One and done. Picks of the week. Are you ready? Guess who gets to pick first? I do, because I hit my winner.
Good for you. That's big.
Phil Mickelson.
I have one question. Is Tim actually playing with us?
No, he never accepted our bet.
He didn't accept it?
He's in the...
I think he did, actually.
Oh, did he? Well, I don't know. I'll ask him
on
again.
the Super Bowl show, he might have.
I know.
But now that you've won, it might... Oh, pack out 1 winner, so now I don't want to play. There's only 30 more rolls.
I'm doing okay. I went 4th and 1st the past 2 weeks.
That's
one
good. The problem is, I think the guys that are winning have allowed for someone to do some people to do probably insane.
Well, I think the guy in first place right now has 4 winners already. Now that teeters. He might end up with 4 winners all year.
We saw that the first year we did Essers.
Yeah, the guy had the 3 wins in the first 4 weeks. But Phil was the second highest pick guy in one and done last week. So a lot of people.
Who was?
Jason Day was the most picked.
He just
one and done for me. I'm leaning Rory. I'm going to take Rory. I should probably save Rory for like Bay Hill or something, but I feel like this is the time that Rory breaks through.
I really hate, even more so than guys that I'm going to bet money on, is having to like make this pick right now.
Got to make it now. This is why we have 2 teams.
I know.
You can save your better pick for later in the week. Although my show picks are doing way better than my later in the week picks.
I took Spieth last week.
You did. I took Phil.
Spieth, did he finish top, like, what did he finish at?
T41, I think. He tied with Dustin. Those big numbers, man.
Did he beat the guy he played with on Sunday? It was like Josh Trader.
I have no idea. Josh
He was
Teeter?
like
I think Josh Teeter came, I think, second in the Celebrity Pro-Am, so I assume he played well.
because he was like minus 350 on a Sunday match.
Always take the other side. If someone's going to be minus 350 in a golf head-to-head, take the underdog. Because no one is that big of a favorite in
That's
golf.
kind of like me when like the Marlins are playing the Yankees. Like, I don't know, plus 350.
Yeah, it's
like one baseball game.
I say, if you put a AAA team into the majors, they would win 45 games. So,
shucks, this is really hard. I'm going to distract. How is Paul doing? Is he still the genius in the one?
I believe out of the 4 of us, I am leading right now. Paul, did you have
He had
Phil last
Day,
week?
I think.
You had Day? Do you have a winner yet? No? Okay, so it's been me so far this year.
I'm going to pick. There probably are other spots.
Have you already used Finau?
Not in ours.
Oh, okay. Why don't you just use Finau?
Hold on. I now need to make sure I haven't used him in ours. I don't think I have.
Who?
No, I did. He missed the cut in Phoenix. I might have used them there. I'm going to take Hideki. I didn't use him in Phoenix. I think he could be like sneaky low
Potentially.
this week because there's such a...
Who do you think is going to be the most popular pick? I think Bubba is going to be super popular. This could be a nice week to use Dustin.
Bubba's got...
I said it last week because remember, no one used Dustin last week, like barely anyone. And I don't think that coming off a bad week, people are just going to go back to Dustin Johnson. But this was like auto Dustin Johnson, like 2 years ago. That's another thing about a lot of exposure to this tournament is that where I'm not betting Dustin, he really does scare me.
Am I going to bet Hideki, though?
You just picked Hideki, so he's your pick.
I am. I will, but now it's probably going to have to put some...
You get the glory. You can be like Tim. You're in it only for the glory of the right pick. The credit that comes along with it. Not the financial upside, obviously, attached to it.
Oh, it's equal. It's equal.
To Tim, the credit is the only... He runs on credit.
I don't need... Like, the money's nice, but like...
No, money... put it this way. I would rather be as wrong as possible on the show if I was still winning money.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
The money was way more important.
But you can't, like... I see Tim's point. He can't buy the adulation.
Yes.
There's not enough oven roasted Subway chicken sandwiches can make him happy, like people praising him on Twitter for being omnipresent smart. Which is like dream.
And what happens like 3 times a year, he gets something right, and he really basks in that glory.
Which is allowed because we give him such a hard time.
Well, when you make...
But as long as he's fair about
But he makes a prediction on everything.
As long as he's fair about, like, the glory seeking.
He's not. He's a desperate man.
Like, if you asked him, like, on a Friday, who's going to win the golf tournament, it will always just be the player with the highest world ranking
in first,
closest to the leader.
Yeah, for a guy...
Every time, like, without fail in our, like, offshoot chats, we're talking about what's going on. He will always, like, declare... that guy who's probably also the live favorite, like on a betting
like Jason Day this weekend.
Exactly.
And then Casey when he was a minus 400 favorite. Oh yeah, he's definitely going to win. That's the big thing about the Andrew curse, and what Tim doesn't understand is he picks the favorite in everything, and then it doesn't win. That makes it even worse. I think at least. Anyway, that is the golf show this week. If you're watching this on the video version, subscribe to the audio podcast. I didn't even do a giveaway either. Maybe I'll do a reshoot at the top of the show so people can do that. But if you subscribe to the iTunes, the Stitcher, or the Spotify and leave a review up there along with your DraftKings handle, 5 stars, not just a rating, but a review as well. Something nice about the show, you're in a draw for 20 DK bucks. And smash the like button, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. Tell me what place you think that Tiger is going to come in this week. I'll announce the winners on next Monday's show. I forgot to announce the winners on this week's show too, so I really screwed this up right off the hop here. I'll have to do the reshoot at the beginning. Other than that, if you want the link to the Listeners League, it's in the description of the podcast first, then the video after. But with 3,500 spots, you probably shouldn't have any issue. I cashed all 3 of my teams last week. In the
Very good. I like 3,500. It's like a good number that allows
It's got to fill, though, or I get in shit.
I hope there could be some late, like, pushing that we got to fill it. 3,000, I felt like we would fill without push. This one might need, like, a last, like, 12-hour, like, bump from you.
See, I don't want to have to get into that every week.
So then maybe I don't want to downplay what we're capable of either.
I told them to keep it at 3,000,
and they're like, "No."
They're like, "No, let's up it to 35.
More is more."
Like, all right, like, you're not even making rake on this, so thanks for guaranteeing all the money.
But the thing is, they're looking at it like we filled 3,000. Filled how long before it went off?
18 hours. Filled the day before.
Yeah.
And everyone who puts a lineup into the Pat Mayo Experience Open is also putting money into other contests. So it is a win for them if it fills every single
We're
week.
going to fill it. You just might
Let's
need
get it
like,
out. Let's fill it.
You might need like a bump. I just lucky that you don't have to like rush to get in.
I don't want it to be a hassle for me to try to fill it every week is the problem.
No, that's that.
Then it becomes a burden.
Then it's not worth. Yeah.
So jump in early so I'm not stressing on a Wednesday night over something I don't want to stress about.
But also, you don't want to have to like put it out there where you're just like throwing the link. You want people to have to go
subscribe to the podcast.
That's what I mean.
It's for the listeners. I don't want anyone just randomly doing it.
That's what I mean.
If you listen to the show, it's for all of us.
That's what I mean. Like, you don't want to be in a spot where you've got to just like throw the link to the league in out on Twitter, and then people can not have to get into the podcast or the video. So
exactly. Anyway,
we'll get it.
Follow Jeff on Twitter at @GFienberg. Follow me at the PME, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, obviously. Become a member at fantasynational.com today. Over 40,000 in winnings from members just on DraftKings alone this weekend. More on other sites and a ton in the betting market as well. So remember, good weeks happen. So remember those during the bad weeks as well. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!